Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the end of 2020. God, and I'm so happy to see the end of this year. Yeah, bloody hell. Anyway, last week when we took a look, we said that very often the trend going into, for stock indexes, this is a chart of the NASDAQ daily chart, very often the trend going into the holiday would be a bit of a pullback, a reversal of the trend that we'd seen. So clearly we've been in an uptrend going into the Christmas period, and then the Santa rally is the rally that usually happens in between Christmas and New Year, and we've seen that definitely today. We've only got three days really, and then we've got half day trading on Thursday in fact, it's less than that in Europe because Europe's all closed today. They don't start opening again until tomorrow. And then half day Thursday, Friday closed. So it's a really shortened trading week. We had a big up day. I would expect this to either just continue. I'm really sorry, my dogs are barking and I don't, hold on. Sorry. I would expect either a little bit of a pullback or we keep going just with the shortened trading week. So for projections, I'm looking at this correction, the September pullback. I feel like this was an ABC, so I'd like to do it from here and say sort of 12,880 maybe resistance, but if we swing it from here and we overshoot, maybe 12,957, something like that. We are coming on to some resistance here in the NASDAQ, but if we keep going, and bear in mind we're like 12,800, this is the daily chart here. I think if we continue above this resistance, I'm looking for 13,583 next, but if we project from the drop, the COVID drop at the start of the year, the 1.618 extension of that is all the way up at 14,800. So, you know, we've got big upside targets if we plow through, and I wouldn't be surprised with all the stimulus that we just keep going, to be quite honest. So that's what I'm looking for in stock indexes. If we look at the S&P, we are kind of, let's go back to the highs here. We are at the if we take the COVID drop, we're at the 1272 extension. That's at 3730. I think if we smash through that, and I have seen some, Santa rallies that just take off, then if we smash through this, then the 1.618 of this is next. It's off my chart, that's why I can't see it. 4,153. So 3730 is quite a big deal level. I wouldn't be surprised if we spiked through it and then closed the week back underneath it. Sometimes that happens with these levels. But potentially, yeah, not that much room, I don't think, until we've got some resistance for this Santa rally. But if we get above all these levels, we could be looking at quite something. So Bitcoin always goes first. Bitcoin rallied first over the holidays, as you know. We're seeing a bit of, we've hit some levels in the dollar, you know, where we've been going into this, we've been seeing some dollar weakness. And what we've seen, and here's a dollar index rally, what we're seeing is a bit of an ABC correction bounce, I think, in the dollar. So the rally from the mid-December low, just a couple of days, I think that we could repeat that, and 91 is going to be really strong resistance. It's a back test, if we zoom out, of a big fib level. And so I'm expecting that to be resistance, and then the downtrend to continue in the dollar in the new year. But we'll see how far we rally, you know, and if it says we've made a bottom or not. I do think that there's room for the dollar to continue down, the dollar index down to 87, which would be really good for Bitcoin. So let's talk about Bitcoin, because that's really the big story of the year. When you think that we started the opening price on the 1st of January this year, I think was 7,000. Let me get regular candles on. And we got up over this weekend, we got up to, you know, 28,000, 27,000 we're at now. So we're $20,000 above the year opening price. And this is it here. And, you know, that wasn't even the low. We actually, you know, went down to 4,000, didn't we? So that's astonishing performance. The big thing about Bitcoin, though, is it really does like big round numbers. If you think about what happened when we got really, the sentiment got really overstretched and we reached this 20,000 level in December 2017, that was a really big deal. And if we think what an amazing pivot, let me hide some of these fibs. If we think about what an amazing pivot this 10,000 level has been, if we draw it in, there it is, that's 10,000. So it was the lows here in January 2018, highs in April, support, support, resistance, 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 and then support, you know, in September. And that 10,000 is actually the level where we pulled back to, tested support, and we took off from. So if you think about that, you know, and how Bitcoin reacts to big round numbers, it's not going to be a big surprise that this 30,000 coming up is going to be a big deal and potentially a little bit of trouble. And if we do fib projections, for example, if we take our highs to lows in 2019 to March 2020 to this last bit was the COVID decline, then that's the 2.618 projection of that decline. If we take the big 2017 drop from, you know, 20,000 all the way down to our sort of 3,000 area, this is the 1.618 extension of that. So make no doubt about it, this round number 30,000 and these two big fib projections say that this is likely to be some trouble. Do I think that that's the end of the rally for Bitcoin? No, I don't, but I do think that first off, we might overshoot it. If I measure the wave one and I project it from what I think is the bottom of this wave, you know, there's room for us to overshoot up to 33 and close back. And I think that we could see some quite interesting bull bear fights at this 30,000 level. So I wouldn't be surprised if we overshot it. But then I feel like if this is a big wave one and this was a wave two, this would be a really cool place for a kind of wave four to begin, and we could, you know, come back and potentially we could come all the way back and retest this 20,000 level from here. So does that mean that you should sell everything when we get to this level? No, I really wouldn't do that, but I would think about either protecting your profits, watching the price action very closely, moving your stop up maybe, you know, maybe de-risking a bit, taking some partial profits. I'm a big fan of taking partial profits and keeping some in. So, you know, you're not tempted to go short in a parabolic uptrend. But at this point, you know, if we look at how stretched and how far we are from our weekly moving averages, let me put, for example, an RSI on and relative strength index. And we'll get rid of my CCI. If we look at this, you know, when we topped out in the RSI in December 2017, our RSI was up here at 93, and our RSI is already up there. We're above it. If we look, let's put our horizontal ray from that high. You can see that we're at the same extreme reading on our weekly. Now, you can be, believe it or not, you can have extreme readings on the RSI, and the RSI will start to fall off and your price can keep going up and you'll start to see bearish divergence. Either way, they become warnings of a reversal. We've got no sign here on the weekly, we're at, you know, new highs, no sign of that yet. But on lower time frames, this is, you know, where you would start looking for bearish divergence. And here on the daily, we've got bearish divergence. The oscillator is making lower highs while price is making higher highs. So that does also warn that this rally's running out of strength. And if you think about it, these last 3 days, just a bit like the Santa rally and stock indexes, you know, this broke out on Christmas Day. I was expecting it to go sideways, to be honest. Sniper One says the RSI was the same back before that. Yeah, it was. I was expecting this to go sideways, and this week would be where our rally would be if we were going to have a Santa rally, you know, but it just like Bitcoin kicked it off early, and here we are. So I don't expect us to come back below this 24,000 level, or at least 21,800 in this swing low, and I think that we continue to 30,000, but then, yeah, time to play defense, protect your profits. And if you have got some FOMO because you took, a lot of people, you know, would have taken positions off, you know, got flat ahead of the holiday because they didn't want to be watching crypto charts, and I don't blame them. And they're looking at this like horrified because they feel like they've missed it. You know, when we're this extreme, is this the, you know, this is not the greatest place to be jumping back in. You know, we will get right when you think that the market will. So if we get all the way up here, people are going to be, you know, who aren't in are going to be suicidal, thinking we're never going to get a pullback. It's going to go, you know, to 200,000 without me. And right when you will think that that is where it will come back and you will get in. So you just got to have faith. There's always more opportunities. This is really not a good place for a big new, you know, position. And I think that we'll just get a wave 4 and we will get another wave higher. And my next upside kind of confluence of targets is up here at 46,000. So, you know, you can buy the pullback and take the next ride up the elevator to 46,000. So, anyway, gosh, thanks for all the nice comments tonight. So how do we look short term? This is our big weekly view. So we had a bit of a warning candle, didn't we, yesterday? A doji, pause, indecision, you know, waiting for the markets to reopen. In Europe, we still haven't reopened. We've got to wait until tomorrow. Iceman says, you've been fighting FOMO since the break of 20,000. Yeah, here. I know. It is hard, isn't it? It is hard. Okay. Well, the next chart should give you, I have a feeling, okay, that we're about to see a, so what happens when we made the high in 2017, it was carnage. You know, we just fell out of the sky and crashed. If we don't fall out of the sky and crash, when we get to this 30,000 mythical level, if this is going to be a wave 4, like we hope it's going to be, and not, you know, a giant ABC like some people sort of think, and a corrective rally, then in a wave 4 we would expect some more kind of sideways price action. Because we've quite stretched, we could come back to 20,000, but I wouldn't expect the it shouldn't be too dramatic, let's put it that way. Like, I think let's see how we go anyway. If it's not too dramatic, then I think we could be setting up a nice little alt rally. All of these alts seem to be, is it me just right? Last week, everybody was like, alts are never going to rally again. It's all about Bitcoin. And all of a sudden, a lot of my alts charts are perking up. And they're perking up against Bitcoin, which is really good news. They're starting to outperform Bitcoin. And this is what you see, you know, in these rallies, you see when you get these massive profits in Bitcoin, people start to de-risk a bit. They don't get out of crypto. They move it into ones that haven't rallied yet. And I feel like that's what we're starting to see. So let's take a look at an ETH Bitcoin chart before we look at ETH. Because first of all, let's look at this weekly chart in ETH Bitcoin, because we kind of I was always hoping that this would be some giant, you know, inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we would have our neckline here at the 200 weekly 200 moving average, something like that. This was actually a slightly lower low. We've got a slightly sloping neckline, but if we take the horizontal, no. if we take we take this as a vertical level, when we sold off here, then I was looking left to where the left shoulder was, because I really kind of like symmetry in inverted head and shoulders patterns, and I was kind of hoping that this double bottom level would be, you know, where we would start to see maybe when we got underneath the weekly 50 moving average. I've got to admit I was a bit depressed. I thought, this ETH is going to hell. But this weekly bullish hammer last week, that was very nice, and the break above this weekly hammer would take us above this weekly 50 moving average. That would be quite a reversal. If we go down, let's go back to our daily chart. So we know we're at resistance now, so we might have a little bit of a setback, but I'm looking for this to keep going higher. So, you know, if I haven't got a moving average to tell me when I'm reversing the trend, I like to use the 236 fib. So I'll take the most recent swing, and oops. Here we go. So when we broke above this 236 fib, we knew at least in this swing that we were getting into a... Go away. No. Getting into a bit of a bounce scenario. I put my fibs on the most recent swing, and then I also put them on the whole sequence. Like, I don't pick random highs in the middle to see if it fits. You either do the most recent swing, I think, or you do the high to low. And even if we take it from this high, we're back above this 236 fib now. We're in a bounce scenario in ETH Bitcoin. This level 26.97 should be support, and we should see this continue a bit higher, and at least to 50%, I think. And back to all these daily moving averages, we might get stuck at the 38.2 initially first. Let me mark that. I can't. There we go. But yeah, we are now in a scenario where Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. I think money is coming out of Bitcoin and going. I'm not telling James to go away. He's not here. I'm on my own. I'm just trying to tell Gunnar to leave Ticker alone. You know, it's so funny because I'm sitting here on my own and they're like, who is she talking to? Why isn't she talking to us? Maybe if we make a big fuss, she'll talk to us and not the screen. So they're trying to get my attention. So, and they're not too bad because Max is here to keep order. Okay, so ETH Bitcoin. I think that we should be looking after that really nice move for ETH to outperform. So how about where we are in ETH dollar? Because if we go to the weekly chart of ETH dollar, I feel like just like we're approaching a big level in Bitcoin at 30,000, we're approaching a big 50% retrace level in Ethereum US dollar. It's 750 at Coinbase. Ethereum, more than anything, loves big round numbers. So this 750 potentially may be a bit of resistance. That's what I've just moved the chart. Let me move everything back. There we go. One thing about 50% levels, unlike kind of 61.8 levels, is they're pretty sharp. So if we got above this 750 level, I think that we will be going to 900 pretty quickly, which would be the next big fib level. So level to watch anyway, 750.5 in Coinbase prices. If you look at ETH, US dollar tether, for not Coinbase, so Binance. Here we go. I'm going to move my fib up, and we'll look at where our big 50. It's 764 if you're looking at it against tether here. In fact, that's not the low, is it? That's the low. So 750, 764, potentially important resistance for Ethereum US dollar tether. So short term, so that, I mean, what does that mean for me? Like, is this a good place for new longs in Ethereum? It really isn't. It really isn't. We need to see what happens at these levels. and we really do need to see a bit more of a pullback. I do think ETH is going to start to outperform. I think if we could get above this 50% level and a bit of consolidation, that ETH might not be a bad place to park. But the problem with big 50% levels, which we've got here in ETH, is if you actually reverse at this level, because mean reverting markets tend to keep mean reverting, we would be looking for a 50% pullback here in ETH before we go up again. So Marine says, what are my views on institutional companies buying into Bitcoin big time? Is Bitcoin in short supply? A little bit. And I think, okay, so if you're an institutional buyer, you would think that if you're trying to accumulate, or you're in that accumulation phase, then what you want to do is you want to try and buy as much as you can without moving the price up, don't you? Because you want to have a good average price. And so these institutional buyers we've seen have been buying pullbacks, because there are a lot of people who are still quite bearish Bitcoin, even though we're at an amazing price. There are a lot of bears who don't trust the rally. You know, the imprint of the memory of 2017 is, the memory of that is strong, and they don't trust this rally. And so every time, you know, or the weak hands, you know, because if you think about it, let's go to a 4-hour chart. In a strong trend like we've had, you'll have a rally, and then you'll pull back, you know, 50 or 61% of the rally, and then you'll do your next swing, and then you'll pull back, and so on. And that's what we've been doing. And each one of these pullbacks, all the bears will be saying, this is it, this is the top, it's over. And the institutional buyers say, thank you very much, and they grab it all. And so they can do that, you know, at moments of weakness without moving the price. But what we saw over the Christmas holiday is different. Okay, over the Christmas holiday, we had really thin, illiquid conditions. There was no futures open, nobody could hedge, and a lot of institutions were on holiday. And so if they wanted to move the price, that's the cheapest time to do it. So I think that's what the move was about. So somebody wants the price up, and so I just think we're at risk soon of some profit taking at 30,000 potentially. Sniper One says, is the normal markets open tomorrow? There's normal, okay, markets are open for normal hours, Tuesday and Wednesday, and shortened trading hours on Thursday and closed Friday. And markets, a lot of markets like in the UK and in Europe and Canada and other countries have had a holiday today, because the normal Boxing Day would be a bank holiday the day after Christmas, and that was on the weekend, so they have the holiday today instead. So that's where we are. So I think we're close to resistance in a lot of these, but this ETH Bitcoin, this is a really good proxy chart, you know, Ethereum Bitcoin for alts. Whenever we see Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin, altcoins tend to outperform Bitcoin as well, and we will see a little bit of an alt rally. Okay, so tonight I need to find my list of coins, because there was okay, I seem to have lost my here we go. Okay, so tonight we're going to look at Ripple, Litecoin, BCH. So listen, these are requests. So just because I've got a Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. So it used to be in the days of old, you know, I don't know if you watched Downton Abbey, but all the servants would have to work on Christmas Day to make a lovely Christmas for the rich people. And so Boxing Day was the Christmas Day for the servants. And so it was a holiday, and everybody else fended for themselves. So that's why Christmas is a 2-day holiday. Okay, thanks, Daleks. That's perfect. Okay, so again, a reminder, just because I have got a coin on my list doesn't mean that it's an endorsement. It means I've been asked to take a look at it. So what about Chainlink? I think Chainlink, a lot of these, so many altcoins of first signs of life, first signs of outperforming Bitcoin, looking quite good. So I've got a link on the list. We will cover that. So let's talk about Ripple. Okay, this case, the SEC case against Ripple, is really serious. I think one of the reasons that we haven't seen it settled yet, normally you would expect the company to settle with the SEC and that would be done. The problem with the SEC case against this one is that they have charged the CEO of Ripple of personally benefiting 600 million from manipulating the price of Ripple tokens. And so any settlement is going to have to involve either him saying, yeah, I did it, or admitting it, it's quite difficult, or, at least paying some money back, potentially. And I think that that's what the holdup is. So, yeah, Ripple is really only going to rally when there's a settlement or when the market thinks that there is a settlement coming. So Ripple Bitcoin looks like hell. But Ripple Tether, when you have a big ABC correction, you're normally looking for a 786 pullback. And in Ripple, this 786 fib level at 0.246 isn't just a fib level, it's really strong support and resistance. If we go all the way back to 2018, you can see these lows, highs. So a big deal level at 2468. And we are going sideways. When you reverse at a 786 fib level, you confirm the reversal. So my fibs are from the low here in March 2020. So this is the yearly low to high. When you reverse at a 786 fib level, your confirmation that you're going up again is above the 61.8, which is here at 0.36. So what we've got going on here in Ripple Tether is a sideways range. And I think that might continue while the market waits to see what's going to be the outcome of this. Because it is strange. The EOS settled very quickly for not a lot of money. I think that the problem probably with Ripple is this personal allegation. And that's why we're a little bit stuck. So, right, a lot of the exchanges are delisting Ripple because they don't want the SEC to come after them as well. So, he needs to be quick if he wants to save the day with Ripple. And when you think about it, here's the thing, like, if Ripple token had ever been a share of Ripple the company, we'd have been all over it, because what they're doing actually in payment systems is quite something. Orangeman says there's lots of talk of Ripple being a fraud masquerading as a payments company. Yeah, there's always that talk though, isn't there, when everything goes wrong. It wouldn't surprise me. We've had a massive bank in Germany that was, big fraud, so it wouldn't surprise me. So for now, we've done our big drop, we've got a big kind of ABC pattern. We're at the 1272 of this swing. Are we going to continue lower? We might, but 0.24668, I think more likely we're going to go sideways in the chop zone. So if you've got some, we've had one big rally off the lows. It was 5 waves, but sometimes it can be deceptive, that first rally. I would expect us to bounce around here. And so let's wait and see what happens on a retest of this low here. But at the moment, really, the only thing I think that's going to save Ripple is an SEC settlement. So, and if they are a fraud, then they're probably not going to do it, are they? This is a little bear flag. I would expect these lows to be retested, and I'm going to wait and see what happens then. This is a 4-hour chart of Ripple. So let's see, you know, whenever you bounce from a level and your moving averages are the wrong way round. So by that, I mean, you know, they're set, the shorter time one, this is a 20, this is a 50, this is a 200. So this is all lined up to sell against these moving averages. Whenever you come back to them, you know, it's always better to, you tend to retest the low, make a kind of double bottom or a basing pattern while you pull your moving averages in, and then the next time you tend to rally away, and then you can get back above those moving averages much more cheaply. So I'm expecting Ripple to go sideways, and I think it's going to be news driven now. Now, what happens if you're not an insider and you don't know what's going on? Well, you need to monitor the price, because if there is going to be a settlement, you'll start to see people anticipating it and buying it, insiders. So there are always insiders, but we can see their footprints on the chart. Okay, that's my thoughts on Ripple. Now, Litecoin. Litecoin has been quite astonishing, because Litecoin has been really outperforming Bitcoin over the holiday. Let's take a look at Litecoin, Bitcoin. Ta-da! Now, looking pretty good. If this is going to be a big ABC pattern in Litecoin, Bitcoin, then we've got resistance at 53.86 and we've got support at 48.39. And these dojis, every day we look underneath this support level and we manage to close back underneath. So for me, you know, this is still bullish as long as we stay above 48.39. And I'm looking, let me zoom out, for this big 53.86. Next, then it would potentially be a cupboard handle. If we get rejected there, we could maybe see an inverted head and shoulders bottom, but that also would be where we are A, B, C from the lows. So it's a little bit choppy in Litecoin, Bitcoin, but we've pulled back to the support, and yes, I'm thinking one more push in Litecoin, Bitcoin, and 53.86 is where we go to. So still, you know, choppy but outperforming Bitcoin over the longer picture. If we look at Litecoin US dollar though, ta-da, this chart's lovely. So a really, really good recovery. Now let's start on the monthly chart, because whenever you want to look for a trend reversal, the 236 fib is very often that resistance level to get beyond. And in this case, in Litecoin, we've gone beyond this 236 fib again. And I'm looking for 50% of this big drop in Litecoin US dollar for a target. And that is also where we've got a slightly higher low here, where we are 1.618 of this swing. So it's not going to be all smooth. Retesting these highs at 146, 150, that's going to be a bit of an issue. 175 is going to be an issue. So, you know, Litecoin is another one, a big one that likes round numbers. So 150, 175, but then 220 actually is my target. So big picture. So now we're looking to buy pullbacks, and this 116 for me in Litecoin US dollar is the support level. If you are looking at Litecoin US dollar tether, so if we see a little bit of a pullback, because we seem to be pausing, don't we? So sideways consolidation, don't want to see it back below 116 and then keep going higher. In fact, if we got back underneath 116, I would probably say that we've made a bigger, more important high, and this is over. So buy dips in Litecoin. This isn't a dip yet, but it might be one. So here on the 4-hour, we might see a little ABC correction, something like that. And then I'm looking for it to continue higher. So 150. Okay, so the next one is BCH. Boy, wasn't this one painful. Let's take a look at the monthly, because we are almost, if I've drawn it right, we are almost at that level, 1.618 extension. where I would expect it to bounce from. Now, if I've drawn it slightly wrong and it should be there, we've tagged it already. Let's put it this way. We're in the area or the zone where I would expect BCH against Bitcoin to at least have a little bit of a bounce. And so we've started. It's not a trend reversal yet. And if we look at our moving averages all the way down, they've been resistance. Today we've hit that 20, but I feel like we're starting to make some progress. Turn it around. It's not a reversal yet, but this was a double bottom. Whenever you see a double bottom, it says it doesn't say a reversal, it says you stopped going down, you're going to go sideways. And so now if we take out these highs here on the upside, we're going up. No doubt about it. So if you think on this 4-hour downtrend, a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows. So if we take out these lows and we make a higher high, that's our reversal. So a bit of a basing going on in BCH against Bitcoin. Potentially we're going to start to outperform. I really want to see it either above the 50 or above these previous highs or something like that. And then we can talk about a bottoming pattern. So I think we're a little bit early in BCH Bitcoin. And I always like to be kind of on the fastest horse on the race. So what about US dollar tether? Because a lot of these charts, when you look at this, you think, oh, that looks like rubbish, doesn't it? But when you put the US dollar chart on, because in crypto, you know, high tide floats all the boats, and it's certainly floating this one, because this, so this is a really good lesson in, you know, your altcoins can look like hell against Bitcoin, but actually they're not doing that badly. And here in Bitcoin Cash, we're not doing that badly. This is a weekly chart. I've put my fibs on from this high to this low, and see how each one of these levels was support and resistance. So this 236 fib, we got above it, and then it was support, support, support. 38.2 was resistance, resistance, resistance. When we got above it, it was support. So these fib levels are all working really well. It's 50% resistance, resistance. And now here we are at this 61.8. So if we close above this, the week above 357, our next upside target is 419. So here on the daily, this looks like we're about to get our first close above this level, which would mean on our way to the next level in the staircase, if you like. But we've got a few hours till the daily close, and we could still end up underneath it because we've done this a few times, couldn't we? So that's what I'm watching for in BCH Tether. We're above that level now. It needs to be support, doesn't it? 357 then. If you're against Tether, that's the level that I want to see hold as support if we're going to keep going higher. If you're not Tether, so you're BCH USD, Coinbase, okay, I'll go back to the weekly. I've drawn this one a little bit differently. So from this high to low, 61.8 is 371. So 371 and the high basically of November, that's what we've got to close above. We're not quite over the hump, if you like. I've got my fibs from the June 2019 here, so over the ABC. Again, you can see this 236, 38.2. Each one of these levels was support and resistance. So that's why we're watching this. That's what we would want to see here at Coinbase against dollar, above 371. So Bitcoin Cash, yeah, looking for the next step up. And then 435 would be my target if you're trading at fiat. Okay, then the next one after BCH is Vchain. Been a while since we got excited about Vchain. And how embarrassing. I seem to have closed the page. That's a bit... I have all these ones open, and then the one I wanted I've closed. Let's quickly get it up. There we go. Okay, I'm just looking. The best hack for everyone. Yeah, let's not do. Can I look at the stock ED trades on the NYSE? Yeah, if I've got time at the end. Okay, so here in Vchain, we've got Vchain Tether. So Vchain is another one. If you look at it against the US, against Bitcoin, you know, which is basically, do I want to be in it or do I want to be in Bitcoin? It doesn't look so pretty. But when we look at Vchain against the US dollar, and I just want to make sure that Bernard, okay. See how from this high to low, this is Binance again, these fib levels were so important, the 236, 38.2, so on, so on, so on. Okay, we've done that 786, 38.2 pullback. Then what tends to happen is you go back into the middle and you sort it out, and I think that we're about to break higher because we're on our way. We've done the pullback and we're on our way up again. So this is either 1 or A. This was B or 2. And hopefully if we can break above this 61.8 level, on our way up again. And that's what we've done. I had Heikenhashi on. So 17,896 should be support. And we should look to retest the highs now at 0.022335. So 22,335. And you can see this is the lovely breakout today, another big breakout move today. So money is coming out of Bitcoin and into these bigger, you know, more original OG kind of altcoins like Vchain. So as long as we stay above 17,896, we're going to look to retest 22,335 next. And if we close here, that would be sort of 50% of the open close. That would actually be a really good place to pull back to if we were going to look and retest this support. You can see really clearly previous highs. Might not come back that far in a squeeze, sometimes they don't, but we would expect consolidation, then next leg higher. And we're only going to be bearish in Vchain dollar if we get back underneath 17,896 again. So buy pullbacks, we're looking for 22,335 next, and then hopefully beyond there and next big leg up. Let's see. The risky place always is retesting previous highs. And if we measure from this swing high to low, the first risky place would be where the second swing is 61.8 of the first one. So just let me line these up properly. Okay. And so here, in fact, in Vchain US dollar on the daily, you can see that if I measure from here to here and project it from here, that 61.8 level does line up with these previous highs. But that also says that if we break above it, 30,319 would be our next upside target and a new high. So watch out for resistance, 22,100 to 22,300 in Vchain Tether. But yes, this is our support, that's our resistance. Looking good. Looking really good. Okay, next one we're gonna keeping up with that. Okay. Sorry, I'm being really slow. Vchain Zilliqa. Hasn't Zilliqa been a really strong performer? Zilliqa Bitcoin. This is one of the ones that really is a strong performer because it's outperforming Bitcoin. If we take a look at the Zil Bitcoin chart. Now in this one, because this one fell so far, let's zoom all the way out here. If you put your fibs on from all the way at the high, here, your 236 fib is so far away, it's almost meaningless. So we've got our fibs on the most recent swing from the most recent kind of obvious. Sorry, my charts aren't moving very. Everything's got really laggy all of a sudden. There we go. So I've got my fibs on from the January 2019 highs. They work pretty well. 38.2, 236 fib. This 50% gave us a bit of a knockback, and we came all the way back to the 38.2. So it is working like a staircase, like it should. So far, so good, so that we know we're going back to retest this 50% level at 360, and if we get above 360, our next target is 433. So this one is really, 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 like if this chart looks this good against Bitcoin, you just know that the dollar chart is going to look amazing. So buy pullbacks, we're looking for a retest of 360 and then 433 next, Zilliqa Bitcoin. Should you invest some of your Bitcoin in Zilliqa? Absolutely. I think it looks fantastic. So, okay. I'm going to go to the weekly because I've been using this swing of projections to give me target levels. This 4.236 fib extension initially gave us a bit of trouble. It looks like we're going to be above it and hold above it, and that's quite cool because that gives us the next upside level of 6.854 and then 1109. So where would that come in? All the way up here at 0.13, and we're at 0.08, so that's pretty nice. At this point though, I'm going to also do this, and we'll look at because I'm never quite sure which ones are going to work. I usually put them all on and see how they look. And let's go back to the daily, because we could argue that this was also a stall at this kind of, 3.14 level. And if that's the case, let's make sure I've lined it up properly. The next upside target potentially is here. I don't like it when they don't all line up, and it's certainly working. Let's put it this way. The fib levels, the fib resistance are working much better in Zilliqa Bitcoin than they are in Zilliqa Tether. But if I was to say with this break above 0.085, where are we going next? We're going to 0.109 for sure, and probably 0.1308. And this level, 0.8571, should now be support. So if we look at it on the hourly, see, it looks like an ABC correction and we're on our way high again. The risk is always, remember corrections are always three waves. The risk is that this isn't three waves finished here, that this is just a big one or A in the correction, and we've still got B, C. And so it is really important it makes a new high. But for me, everything, the close, the weekly close above that level, everything says this looks good to go higher. So I really like Zilliqa. Looking good. Okay, next one is Link now. Few people gave up on Link, didn't you? So if we look at Link, it's another really good example of how it hasn't been outperforming Bitcoin. In fact, it looks like hell against Bitcoin, but the dollar chart looks fantastic because everything in crypto is kind of going up at the moment. Now, I'm going to zoom out big picture here on the weekly, because if we were looking at pullback levels and we were going to lose this 61.8 level, which we did, the next best support by far is this 786 fib level. And look at these previous highs here as well. So 37,000 was really good support, and we've seen a really good reaction from this level. So Link Bitcoin, it is starting to turn up again. We're starting to outperform Bitcoin. We've got a higher low. There's definitely buyers at this big deal level. Is it a bullish reversal? Yeah, not quite. Could we still go lower? Yeah, we could. We haven't even got back to the daily 20 moving average. But whenever you make a double bottom or a higher low, it does mean that you stopped going down, you're consolidating, and then you start to look for the signs that you're going to get a bullish reversal. So for me, that means flipping lower time frame moving averages. Here on the 4 hour, that would mean taking out these highs, taking out this 4 hour 50 moving average. Then I think, remember, when you reverse at a 786 fib, your confirmation that you've reversed is above the 61.8. So that's going to be, if we can take these moving averages out, that's going to be our target. 65,321. And look at these lows here. So this is our upside target. If we can reverse the short-term trend, and then above there, above 65,321, we've reversed it. So looking really good against Bitcoin. A good place to diversify some of your Bitcoins into when we start getting to some big levels. Okay, so how about, so that's what we're looking for in Link. We're looking for this little wedge here to break to the upside, aren't we? And we're looking for 65,321. How about Link US dollar? Well, I think I was asked for Link US dollar tether. Well, let's take a look. Okay, Link tether. This has been a lovely ABC correction here. So let me put this on this way. I've got it the wrong way around. Here we go. Okay. So if this was our if this was our A leg and this is a funky B and this is a C leg, like this, and we measure it like this. There it was. Here's our ABC equal measured move. We've moved back to the daily 200 moving average. There's everything to like about this pullback in Link tether. So if we can, we've now got with this 50% level is also this big pivot level in the middle. Let me zoom out. Okay, so we've got our fibs from here to here. We bounced from the 61.8 back to the 38.2, which is your first target. If you do that, your second target is the 236 fib. We've done that. Then you would expect to come all the way back to the middle and the 50%, which we've done, and the 200 moving average. And then if we're going up from here, this is where we do it from. So, you know, you tend to consolidate in that golden ratio zone in between the 61.8 and the 38.2. So here, for Link, this is our 61.8 down here. Okay, we bounced off it. This is our 38.2 that we've got to get above, which is also the daily 50. And if we do, that's us going up. So 12.948 is what we've got to break above to get up. And that's where we got rejected yesterday. And that's the high that we need to break above to be going back up again. So well done, LaShawn. So 12.948. If we don't, what does it mean that's going on? To be honest, between this 61.8 and 38.2 level, you can do a lot of consolidating, but this 50% in the middle is like a pivot level. So as long as we stay above that, we should still be going up. But I have to say that if we get underneath it, if we get a bit of a sell-off, we'll retest the lows in Link tether short term. So 10.73 is support, and above 12.948 or above 12.95, we're on our way up and looking for a breakout. And next leg up, Link tether. And yeah, I really like it. I think it's worst case. If this is just all part of a bigger correction, okay, if we measure from this low to this high and project it from here, 13.6, if we're going to fail, we're going to fail at 13.67. And then if we get above there, we should go, even if this is just a bearish ABC, we should go to 17.15, and it shouldn't be a losing trade. We don't want to really reverse there. We really want to start a new uptrend in Link. But let's see. Those are the levels where we might trip up, if you like. Okay, love Link again. Finally. Like, it took a long time, didn't it? Since we all fell out of love with Link in September, didn't we? Okay, the next one is Theta. Haven't looked at Theta for a while. And very quietly, this one, this is Theta Bitcoin. This is another one quietly that is eating Bitcoin's lunch, basically. This is an uptrend. Oh, this is a weekly uptrend against Bitcoin. These are our weekly moving averages. And is it a bit choppy and overlapping? Yes, it is. You know what this feels like? It feels like we made a big wave one, and this was a funky running correction wave two, and we're on our way up again. I've put my fibs from low to high. Initially, it would have been this one. We pulled back to the 786, made a new high. Now I've done this one. Here we've pulled back to the 61.8. But if I run it from here, we've done that 786 thing again. And I am looking for a new high. So we've gone from the 786 to the 38.2. We've come all the way back to the middle. Look, there's that 50% level in the middle. We're on our way up again in Theta Bitcoin. And this is another really good candidate for an altcoin to slide some of your Bitcoin into if you want to take some profit. It's going up. Okay. At the moment, it is a little bit sideways. And it's just like Zilliqa that we just looked at. This is our first leg down. I expect a B leg from here. So here's our first leg of correction. We're probably going to see a B leg. We're probably going to see a C leg. We might even do this before we go up again. But it is, if you buy dips, this is one of the ones I like. I'm still looking for one more pullback, though, at least, before we go up again in Theta token Bitcoin. So, and that would work out, that would line up with Bitcoin having one more, hurrah to 30,000, wouldn't it? So let's look at Theta US dollar tether. I'm going to go to the weekly now. I have to say, this is for me, this is a little bit stretched. And again, I wouldn't buy that. I'd like to see more of a pullback. This one, it's a good candidate against Bitcoin, but it is quite stretched against the US dollar, isn't it? Let's look at how we got to these projections. So from here, that's our 4.236 fib. If we continue higher here, our next upside is 2.23. So we're going to we'll mark where our, and then if we measure from this correction, the reason we had this, was it here? Or was it from here? I think it was 3.618. Which is not actually a fib level, but sometimes acts as one, 3.618. So we've got an interim level here, haven't we? That might be 1.87. So this is how I project from the pullbacks. This is how I come up with target levels. They tend to work. And here we've got 1109. What's the next one after that? Much further up, so out of the way. So this pink zone that we're in on the weekly is a bit of resistance. And if we look at what happened every other time, we've gone into a bit of sideways correction. It's lasted for quite a while. It's lasted at least for an ABC, and here on the daily, this was at least 2 weeks, and we're only on our third day of correction. So I think, to be honest, buying Theta at this point isn't the best bet. It's too stretched. It's way too far away from the daily 20 moving average, and it needs to do some more sideways consolidation and let everything catch up before we do the next leg up, if you like. Those are the levels that we're looking for. If we do another leg up, I just would be surprised. I would watch out on this bounce that you don't see profit taking, and that we don't, failed on this retest of the highs. So it will make a lower high. If you're in it, that for me, a lower high here and turning lower, that would prompt me to take some profit in Theta token. So, and just move it into something else that maybe hasn't quite gone yet. Okay, next one we're going to look at is ENJ. So we'll start just like everything else, ENJ against Bitcoin. Is it a good level? Yeah, it's at a really interesting level where buyers have stepped up before, many times before, in 2018 and in 2019. So around here, around the 500 level, basically, is has been previously very good support for ENJ Bitcoin. So Engine. Here we've got a little swing failure pattern, haven't we? So swing failure pattern is where you make a low and then you have a look under that low, but you close back above it. So it's like a false breakdown. So here's our swing failure. So potentially this is a little bit of a base. So in Engine Bitcoin, if we break these highs, you know, we've confirmed our double bottom and we are set for higher. So it's not a reversal yet. It's just the first signs of maybe we could make a base here. And above 600, yes, we've got much more upside. 730, and then the daily 50 moving average, where is that? 760. So 730, these previous lows, 760, if we can make a base here. So ENJ is potentially setting up to start outperforming Bitcoin. Again, this is another of those charts, when you look at this, you think it looks dire, and then you take a look at it against Tether and it looks fine. It looks so much nicer. Oh, look. We've just pulled back halfway and here we are ready to go again. So this one, I'm going to put my fibs all the way from this low down here, I think. And we're looking to see if we're in that 618, 38.2 zone, and if we can break out of it. That's exactly where we are. So we bounced once from the 61.8 up to the 38.2, come back to the middle. This 50% level in the middle is acting like a bit of a pivot, and it's also our weekly 50 moving average. So we need to get back above that to be going back to the top of the range. 14,542. So back above 14,542 sends us back to the 200 moving average and 17.17. I mean, I can't read it. 0.17213. Put it on the right. I sound like a dilbert. There we go. 0.17213. So this is our level to get above 14,542. Engine US dollar tether. On the 4 hour, are we setting up? We're kind of bunching up under it. It just looks like it's getting ready to break out, doesn't it? That's what I want to see, though, if we're going up above 14,542. So put an alarm, keep an eye on it. If you go to sleep and you miss it and you wake up in the morning and it's above it, don't worry. Buy the retest. That's your, buy the pullback. That'll be fine. So Engine tether. Sideways in the golden ratio zone, looking for a break higher. Next one we're going to look at is Lend. Again, we're going to start looking at Lend Bitcoin. So so this is another one like Theta, you know, it topped out in September, end of the summer, and a really, really nasty pullback. If we put our fibs on from the lows and we look at where did we kind of come back to, like this. Let's put them, let's change the color. I want to see if we came back to the 786 or not. Yes, we did. Okay, so when you reverse it as 786, remember your target is the 38.2. That's where we went. And then normally you would pull back to the middle and have another go again. We came a little bit further than I thought we would, but that's the really nice validation of that 786, 38 thing you do. So this time, if we do another leg, we are either going to retest these highs, and if we break them, because this is a reversal at 786, the next target is going to be the 786 of this high to low up here, which should, so that's what we're going to be looking for. So now we want to know from this high to low, are we going up again? Well, big picture, we would need to get back above the 200 moving average. You see how it was support, and then underneath it, it's resistance. That's going to be our first target. But if we can get above the 236 fib before then, that would be a bit of an early warning sign. So 31.68. So a close above 31.68, that would say back to the moving averages and then potentially back to these highs at this 50% level. So that's daily close above that, then it should be support. If 4 hours says, yeah, let's see, that's what we need to get above here. So nice hourly bullish flag. Let's see if we can do it. I would say the hourly 200 moving average as well. This previous high, this would be our hourly trend level, wouldn't it? The last high here, around here. So above 3,270, we've definitely turned it around, and above that 200 moving average. And then, yeah, target's 4807. So good signs in Lend Bitcoin. Good signs that it is starting to outperform Bitcoin and money is coming out of Bitcoin into it. But yeah, we're going to have some trouble getting through these moving averages. Let's see. So should we spend some of our Bitcoin on Lend? Yes, we should. This Lend tether chart then should look amazing. Yay. It does look pretty good. Okay, I'm going to look. Let's look big picture from these lows where we pull back to. Because it was looking at the pattern. We didn't quite back. Okay, that's cool. Didn't get back to that 50%, so that's all good. Back above these daily moving averages though, after what looks like a big ABC correction, doesn't it? Looks really good, ready to go up again. But this was a double top. It was a messy double top kind of swing failure here. So that's got to be our first target, back to the top of the range. And well, this is a 4-hour chart. We'll call it our sideways range. Here's the bottom of our range. Really, we couldn't close below it, could we? So if we break out above 95, then that's our next swing up and next leg up. So that's going to be our first target. Now we're going to do some projections. So okay, so we stopped at the 1272. So from the first one, I've always find is a really reliable. The first corrective swing is really reliable. We stopped at the 1272, we stopped at the 1.618, we're back above this 1.618 again. So this 2.618 for me would be our next target if we can make a new high at 112. And this was here in the middle. We'll put the other ones in. 2.24. Okay, so we've stopped at the 299, which would be round number 100, might be a little bit of a pullback level, but our target is 112. So looking really good. Let's see. If you're looking for a pullback entry in Lend Tether, this close above the 20 moving average, this 20 moving average now should be support. So if you're looking tomorrow, where would I come back to? 80.71 is where that 20 moving average is. So yeah, that's this level here. So if we dropped a little bit, that's where I'd be looking. Sometimes we might overshoot, you know, and not close, so we'll do that and then close back above it. But if you're always going to put an order and hope to get filled, 80.71 would be the level that I'd be looking for in Lend Tether. Okay, The next one we're going to look at is Mithril. Now Mithril has a really good, this is Mithril US dollar tether. It's had a really nice bounce off the highs. The problem is, if this is, we've had a big kind of ABC down, but if we take our fibs from the most recent swing, where we stopped was a bit of a 236 fib, wasn't it? 0.02, and this is where we've got rejected. So how far should this come back where we'd be looking for support? At the moment, if this is as far back as we come, this stays quite bullish for me because we've got a big weekly Maribosu candle. And so 50% back of this open close of this weekly candle, that's where I would expect it to find support. The problem is, I feel like we're a little bit, you know, when you top out, it takes a couple of weeks of correction normally to find a base and turn up higher again. But I'm going to say, as long as we stay above 11.59, that's going to be my fib support, or don't close more than 50% down on this weekly candle, then we are looking good to go higher. So far, it's just 1 day pullback though, and as a daily candle, this is a bearish reversal candle. This candle, if we closed here, is called dark cloud cover, and it says more correction or more weakness to come. So especially if we break the lows. So I would say Mithril tether, because of this fib reversal, because it looks like a bit of an ABC, because short term I think we've got more correction. If tomorrow we get a bounce in this one and we make either a lower high or we retest the high and double top, I would use that to potentially get out of some Mithril and wait for a bit more correction. I think we've got a little bit oversold, and this is a warning. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking for. Wait for the bounce though, because holding that kind of weekly halfway back level does say from here that we should, I feel like we've done a big A leg and we're going to do a big B leg. So we should come back at least 50% of the drop. We might even retest the highs in Mithril and then see if we keep going, you know, move your stop up under the lows. And if we keep going, happy percent. If I was in this now and I hadn't got out on this reversal, I would put a hard stop under these lows, and I'd be watching the rally and see what happens. Either a lower high or double top or whatever. That would be, I would get out and wait for more correction. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is Ren. Sorry, that's not better news for... I think I have to turn the radiator down. I've got 4 dogs on the floor surrounding my chair, all with their feet in the air, lying on their backs, so perhaps it's a little bit warm. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is Ren. Another one where I seem to have closed the page. Sorry. Can't spell. Okay. Did everybody have a nice Christmas? Like, here in the UK, you know, it was a proper lockdown, and yeah, not much fun for a lot of people. So, okay, I really like this Ren US dollar tether chart. But we should take a look at Ren Bitcoin. One thing I want to see for all of these charts is I want to see, is the Ren Bitcoin chart at a level, if it's not going up against Bitcoin, is it at a level where it could bounce from, or it would look reasonable to bounce from, or is it showing signs of a bounce? And here in Ren Bitcoin, we are showing signs of a bounce. there's a bit of a pivot level. I like to see it continue above at 1396, but otherwise it doesn't look too bad. It is at least off the lows and a green candle. I'd put a fib level on, because really you want to be on the fastest horse in the race, really, don't you? So there we go, 1350. So if we're going to go higher, Ren Bitcoin really needs to get above 1350 and that 786 fib level that we broke. So forget that level. You can see these highs, lows, lows, highs here. So it's not a done deal that we are going up yet. But I think if we continue above 1350, I would like Ren against Bitcoin, and I would think it would be worth investing some Bitcoin in Ren. So let's take a look at Ren Tether then. Because here we've got this big wedge that we need to see a breakout of. So just like we need to see that little bit over the hump in Ren Bitcoin, we need to see this over the hump here in Ren Tether as well. So not quite a breakout yet. And not only that, but third touches of trend lines are very often false breakouts. You very often stay within the patterns. So that's really what we need to see. And above 0.38, that would be a breakout. And we might... So if we're going to do 5 waves and do this, so it would be 1, 2, 3, something like this. And then, so yeah, that looks okay. It's a little bit stretched today though. Let's wait for a bigger pullback and back to these moving averages. If we count this as the most recent swing from here, where's this 236? We're clinging on to this 236 fib at the moment. If we don't and we come back a little bit further, the place that I'd be looking to buy would be 0.3055. That would be like 50% back. And this last swing low, that's where it might come back to. But yeah, Ren US dollar tether. See where this 20 moving average is? You kind of want it to come back to that. And you kind of want the oscillator. Whatever you use, MACD, RSI. I like a CCI because it's based on moving averages. This is like a... yeah, that's just what I like. You want it to see it either come back to the middle and reset. And in this case, in Ren, we haven't done that. So if we're going to stay in the top and consolidate here, this is one of those charts where you're going to see a bounce and then you're going to see one more third leg of correction before we go again. So we might do that, or we might, you know, do a shallow bounce and we come back, you know, to here before we go again. I'm not sure how it's going to unfold, but for me, I want, because we're too far from that 20 moving average, I want to see at least a bounce and then another leg, and then say hi to this 20 moving average before I buy it again. So I'm going to be a little bit patient and stalk along an entry in Ren, but in terms of the daily pattern, is it setting up for a big move? I really do think it is, yeah. I think it is setting up for a lovely big move higher. So it's just a matter of being patient for a day or two. Everything is setting up how you want it to. Now, on this big ABC, if we put our fibs on it, let's see. If that helps. I don't think it does actually in this instance, but 38.2, 61.8. Yeah, 3066 then. Back to the daily 50. A little bit lower. Anyway. Looking good, but we just need to be a little bit patient. In fact, I really do like Ren US dollar tether. So the next one we're going to look at, my apologies, I'm being really slow tonight. I'm in really slow holiday mode. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Hold on. We're going to look at Dock. If I can find it. Here we go. I thought for a minute we were looking at Genesis Vision. I was like, oh, that chart looks like hell. Here, look at this. This is really building a very nice base. We've got a lovely double bottom here in Dock Bitcoin, and we've got a lovely double top. So we've retested the lows. This is what I mean by a sideways range. You see this a lot. And then when you break out of your sideways range, your target, whenever you make a pattern like this, your target is twice the range that you've made. So yeah, here's our highs, lows. If we get above this daily 50 moving average, which has been capping us for the last 4 days, if we can close above it, it's at 65. Then we're going to go to 91, and then above 91, we will go twice this distance, which normally means back to the 50%. So we've got the 200 moving average, and then we've got a target of 136. If we can get above this daily 50 in Dock Bitcoin. Is this, now, this doesn't bother me at all, you know, if we're going sideways against Bitcoin, would I buy the dollar tether chart if it looked good? Hell yes. Because if you're going sideways against Bitcoin and Bitcoin is in a parabolic rally, then the value of whatever you're in that's going sideways against Bitcoin is going up too. So, you know, we look at this chart and it looks like it's making a really nice base, but if we look at Dock dollar, it should look, well, parabolic. Not parabolic, but it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Above the 200 moving average. Look how many times we moved back to these daily moving averages before we finally took off from this. Finally got moving. Very nice. So look, we had this triple top here. And so when we finally, you know, this level became a pivot and where the 200, here we go. What I like about this and why I stay bullish is because we've got much higher daily close going on. So now we're going to look to fibs from the highs to lows. See how this was the 236, 236, and this is the 38.2. So we can say, we can rely on these and look at this nice reaction at the 50%. We can say if we get above 18,157 again, we're going to go up to this 50% up here again at 21,416. And then this time, this will be our big A, and so on. And so we'll go between the levels. So above 18,157. Here's our little bullish flag, isn't it? Nice consolidation. I close above 18,157. We go back to 21,416 and retest this spike high. It's all looking very good, isn't it? Hopefully this is one of those funky sideways. Till we break out, of course, so we're not actually out of trouble. Especially here, because what we could do here is this, see how we're doing this ABC? I bet that equal measured move lines up with our resistance level. So if that's where we stop, yeah, it does. So that's, again, reinforces that that's where we've got to go beyond. If this is not just, if this rally is not just a correction, this bounce is not just a correction, we've got to get above 18,234. Okay, Dock then, making a really, really nice base, and yeah, hopefully consolidating in a bullish pennant for another leg higher above sort of 18,200 would confirm. Okay, STX. Let's hope it's not another one that I haven't closed this one. Right. Okay, so I can't believe nobody is talking. Look at this Chiliz. On a mission. This Chiliz has further to go. If you're in Chiliz, 30,600 is the next big fib projection level. Just this one just is on fire. Hot chili, but watch out, because like Bitcoin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're in the 5th wave. When we get to this resistance, if we reverse here, we're going to come back probably to the bottom of this wave 4, which would mean in Chiliz, which would mean back down to here. So, you know, you got to be careful. If not, you know, at least back to these previous highs. So watch out in Chiliz tether when we get up to 30,600. It's a bit like Bitcoin. Okay, the one I'm supposed to be looking at is STX, and I don't know, block stack. Here we go. Another one, hopefully, that's making a nice big base and hasn't taken off yet, a bit like Chiliz. The problem with this one, here's we've got a double, triple bottom. So we had a double bottom here, high in the middle, and our 236 fib now is our high in the middle of this double bottom range. So against Bitcoin, very similar to Ren that we just looked at, we're going sideways. That means if your base currency, if you're going sideways against your base currency is taken off, the value of your block stack STX has gone up. So that's all good news. That's all you want to see. You just don't want to see it going down. And here we go. So we'll go very simply. We'll put our fibs from high to low. See, are they working? Is the market looking at them? They're a little bit woolly, aren't they? But they are. This 236 worked very nicely. So we'll stick with that for now, and we'll look for projections from here. So we paused at the 1.618. This 1272 is support. 3696. And if we break 4328, we should be looking for the 2.618, which is up here. So for me, the major fib projection levels are the 1.618, the 2.618, 3.14, 4.236 is a really big one. I mark 2 and 2.24, which are also fib levels. They tend to be support and resistance that you bounce between, but they don't tend to be the high. So in this case, I would say pretty for sure, if we can close above 4328, this should be the level that we go to at 6153, and those are kind of the wobble levels in between. And if we mark where this previous high is, you can see that lines up with that. 2 previous highs and lows are always a little bit of troublesome. So 0.5025, 0.5 will be a bit troublesome. And if I'm doing this right, let's put that 1.13. Yeah, 1.13 and then 1272. So that again adds weight to these wobble levels. So if we can get above them in block stack. So block stack looking really good. More upside. Those are the sort of the zones I'd be looking for. Okay, so above 0.4328, we've got 0.5, 0.55, and then we've got 0.62 for upside targets. And the higher one is the one I prefer, 0.62, but don't rule out a bit of a wobble at the previous highs. So STX looking really good. EGLD, this one was a little bit of a, this is one of the DeFi ones, and this one was a little bit of a disappointment. I have to find him. 1 second. Here's EGLD. So I've got my, this is EGLD tether. I've got my fibs from this high to the low. The problem here is we reversed at a 786 fib. And when you do that, your first target is usually back to the 38.2. So I feel like this is a daily chart. Well, I feel like there's, if we lose these lows, that's where we're headed to. And that also lines up with the daily moving averages pretty well. We're holding the daily 20 moving average. And if we continue lower, you know, back down to the 50 is where we're going. At the moment, though, it doesn't seem to want to. And it looks like one of those fake head and shoulders, or those head and shoulders that fail. And when your head and shoulders fail, it's usually because you've made an ABC correction. So here was our failed head and shoulders pattern. So this is quite bullish when you have a failed head and shoulders pattern, because all the people who were long EGLD would have sold here going, oh hell, this is the end of the world. Like, they didn't wait for the neckline to break and it's taken off. It's a little bit of no man's land. Like, I wouldn't buy it here either. I think what we might be doing is a little ABC, and if that's the case, this is the resistance, isn't it, right here, that we need to go beyond. So if we get stuck here and we squeeze lower, I think that we are looking at a retest of this low. So this is just a squeeze of the people who sold this one. And then here, I would be a buyer at 17, big time. 786, 38.2, it's a really reliable pattern. That's the target. Now, if we keep going above this this 26 level here and retest the highs and new highs, happy days. So just because I said this is resistance doesn't mean we'll reverse here, but I would watch out and see what happens in EGLD. It just, you know, our moving averages are all going flat and it's all not clear, is it? You know, we might just do a little, if we do that, remember, break of these highs you can buy. That would be also a good look if you're bullish. If I was long and I had my stop, I would put my stop under this little swing low here, wait and see what happened overnight, and see, as a swing trade. It's a little bit risky. You don't want it to reverse here with an ABC pattern and then go back to the lows. Okay, EGLD. Rune, nobody asked me for Rune. I put Rune in because I don't know why I keep talking about Rune, and it's like one of those ones that I kind of like. And here it is. Rune. Why do I like Rune? Well, if this was just an ABC, this is a perfect equal measured move correction that we've bounced from. That means for me, this is what I said, if we were broke down here, that's what we would do. That would means for me that my target is 43.64. This is Rune Bitcoin. So Rune has made a big ABC correction against Bitcoin, is setting up to outperform Bitcoin. So I expect it from here to retest 43.64. And if we fail there, then we're still, and we're going to do 5 waves down. But if we can get above 43.64 and then above this daily 50, I think that this is a big one, either 1 or A, 2 or B, and then 3 or C. And then my target would be this next, 50% level, if not higher. So that's why I like Rune by dips. Now, if we say where is the resistance, or where would be the kind of confirmation for a reversal from me, because we've done this ABC, the first initial resistance that we need to get above is this 236 fib level, and we've done it today. So potentially we just see a shallow pullback tomorrow in Rune Bitcoin. 37.85 holds, and we keep going up from here. So I like Rune to outperform Bitcoin. I think we can see the money flowing that way. And let's take a look at our Rune US dollar chart. Now, the other reason I like this is whenever you buy something, you don't want to buy something that's already, really oversold. You want to buy something that's consolidating and setting up to break out. And hopefully, this is what we've got going on here with Rune Tether. At the moment, it is a bit of a sideways range, but this is quite a breakout move. So we need to retest this 786 fib at 1.09, and then above 1.09, retest the highs, and then hopefully so on. I feel like this is a wave 2, wave 1, 2, 3, and this is a really funky 4, and now we're in our 5th wave, if you like. So it may be that we get stopped at 1.3, but the longer you spend going sideways, usually the bigger the move. So if we take this as our first high, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be, but first resistance, second resistance, that's what I'm looking for. So we haven't quite broken out yet. I'm going to put my Heikenhashi on, and I like this to buy hourly dips until we get out. So let's see, that's the level to beat anyway, 1.1 in Rune, and then we're going to look for 1.3 and then hopefully new highs. So Rune's one of my favorite. Last one I'm going to look at tonight is Atom. That's the dog having a drink. Dream, sorry. Okay, this is another one in a really nice side. This is Atom Tether. First of all, let's look at Atom Bitcoin. Should we, is it going up or at least holding its own against Bitcoin? Because if it's going down against Bitcoin, you may as well stay in Bitcoin. But if it's sideways or turning up again, happy days. It's turning up again. For now anyway. So for now anyway, Atom is going to rally. We would expect after it turning up like this, that we at least get back to the daily 20 moving average. So we've got more upside. And so yeah, let's take a look if there is a setup here in Atom Tether. And I think there is, if we get a breakout. It's a bit like Rune. It's one of the ones that hasn't broken out yet and could see a move. So we've got this sideways consolidation going on. In between, look, again, this is from this low to this high, this is a 61.8, 38.2. So we've done it once and again. So we've gone ABC up. Now we've gone ABC down. Time to go up again. This 38.2 though, it's messy. That's our resistance. We are bullish as long as we stay above 4.95. We're looking for 5.87, and then hopefully this time we'll squeeze to the 236 fib and then beyond. This is a really nice kind of messy retest of the 200 moving average. The 200 moving average is just turning up again. We've got potential for a really nice breakout here, I think, in Atom. And if it's not, the worst case scenario would be that this is just a big correction. So let's move our fibs around. Let's, instead of having them there, doing our 61.8, 38.2, we'll do them this way. Okay, so this was a 50% pullback. When you do that, here's my rules. You're looking for at least 1.618 extension of this pullback. Just that's how harmonic patterns work. So for here, let's do that. We'll change the color. Let's go red, and we're just looking for that 1.618, 2.618 level. Okay, clean up. Okay, so there's our 1.618 level. So our first target is going to be this 50% retest, 6.47. Second target is going to be 7.87. Okay, that's just a simple rule from when drawing harmonic patterns. If your rally can't go beyond the 50% and then you do a deep pullback, you're always looking for at least 1.618 of the pullback. So that puts us up here. So good stuff. Love Cosmos. Watch for this retest of the highs. And short term, if you're looking for a pullback to get in this one, this daily 50 now should be support. So see what price that daily 50 is. 5.197. So any pullbacks, 5.197. If you're looking short term, it's where you would be trying to buy. Okay. All right, that's it. I'm going to see you on the other side in 2021. Connor says, YFI. Okay, I haven't. Freddie says, Rune is your biggest bag. Okay, well done. Okay, Haven is another one where if you look at Haven Bitcoin, you go, oh my God, what are we doing in this? But if you look at Haven Dollar, it looks like a really nice breakout and a little bull flag. And so I agree with you, Freddie. Haven is looking lovely. And hello, Dan. Good to see you. Unfee. So I'm just going to do two. I'm going to look at, I haven't got much time, unfortunately. Seem to have been here a couple of hours. Maybe I talk too much. I just want to say, be a little bit careful. In normal years in stock markets, okay, you tend to see a rally between Christmas and New Year, and then January isn't always a good month. And if we think about what we've got coming, we've got until February before we get a new US president. So we've got a little bit of uncertainty and stuff kind of, marking time, and markets tend to not like doing that. We've got absolutely rampant new version COVID everywhere. That's not good either. Everybody's shut down, and so it may be that we see some weakness in January. Let's be ready for it. Okay, Connor. YFI, I don't know where. Just, be ready. That's all I'm going to say. I feel like, in a parabolic market going up, you sometimes feel a bit stupid saying, watch out. But it's just when nobody believes that the market will go down, that it tends to. Now, YFI Bitcoin, this is all a bit not looking terribly bullish, is it? These fibs are not working. I need to put them on the other way from this low, because that's the way they are working. And went all the way down to this 942. I have a feeling that we're now 886. There we go. Anyway, let's not do that. Let's just say for a week now, we've held our own. We've stopped going down. Whenever you get a double bottom, swing failure pattern, anything like that, you've stopped going down. And so that means while Bitcoin has been doing its parabolic rally in the last 5 days, YFI has been going sideways with Bitcoin. So that means that the value of YFI in dollar terms should have rocketed. Up here, we had a pretty nice double top. Did we meet the target of this double top? I think we probably didn't. It looks like we might have further to go. Let's see if we've got a fib level going this way. 618, 786, something like that. We haven't really. But we are going sideways. So I would say, if you've got a nice setup in YFI US dollar, probably okay, because we're not tanking against Bitcoin. And we have, haven't we? Because we've got that 61.8, 38.2 thing going on. Here's our 38.2 consolidation. We're consolidating in the golden ratio zone. What I like about this is it looks like a really clear ABC correction here, and we should therefore, perfect look to the tick, be ready to go again. If we can hold above 22.867 and get above, more importantly, we need to get above these daily moving averages. So we've got a perfect measured move correction. So in YFI Tether, if we can get above these daily moving averages, these highs, we're on our way. We should be on our way to the moon, really. But sideways. So if I was trading this short term, I would look for us to get above the 4-hour 200 moving average. That's quite a good alt killer, that moving average. and I would look otherwise for a breakout higher from this sideways consolidation. That would be my bullish trigger. Short term on the hourly, we may be doing another ABC, and if we were doing that, then yeah, you probably look at 21,400 and up. But yeah, I do really like this setup in YFI. And yeah, hourly, I think we could dip a little bit lower, but big picture looks really good above those daily moving averages. Okay, I'm really sorry I'm not going to do any more. I don't know. I don't know, just this holiday's away. I don't know, maybe I have COVID or something. I feel really tired. Hope everyone's feeling a bit better. Okay. Jaywar says, I'll have a quick peek at ICX, and I have to say that, you know, pretty much every chart I look at, I go, oh, like, look here, we've ended up with AAVE, one of my favorites. Look at waves here at the 200 moving average. This should bounce here. Again, another swing failure pattern in waves. So we've dipped underneath the 200 moving average but couldn't close above it. We've stopped going down here. So we're going sideways against Bitcoin for the last, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, while Bitcoin has gone parabolic. So the value of AAVE, even though it looks like nothing, the value of your waves should have gone right up for the last 5 days while we saw this move in Bitcoin. So, you know, when you go sideways and you hold your own against a market that's taken off, then it's always a good look, isn't it? So here's Icon, ICX. Here's another one, higher low against Bitcoin. 5 days. So ICX should be getting ready. In terms of dollars, ICX, the value of ICX should be really going up. Let's look at the weekly. And here we are retesting these lows. We haven't quite tested that low, have we? But what if this low, let's look at it this way, right? What if this low was a swing failure pattern and the real low is here and we've retested it again, another third touch? Like, you can look at it that way and say, you know, yeah, that is holding the lows, isn't it? So a weekly close in ICX Bitcoin, more than 50% up on this big red candle, open close. That would be a bullish reversal in ICX. I think it's looking pretty good. This 200-day moving average, that's going to be key, because we've got this kind of range. We really need to close above 1,800 to reverse this downtrend. But looking really good for ICX. Bitcoin. So ICX dollar should be, let's see. Kapow, yes. Higher low, nice correction. Again, 61.8, 38.2. And this one is like hopefully an inverted head and shoulders pattern. So we could say in ICX tether, if we can close above 0.4538, we're going to look for 0.5355 next. Okay, I've got my fibs all the way from the low in this one because they're working from here low to high. This is a very nice continuation inverted head and shoulders pattern in ICX tether. I really like this, and above 4538 would be my trigger. So look at the hourly. God, we're nearly doing it, aren't we? Look, see this resistance highs. This is what we need to break above. And then, in fact, we've got a little hourly set up then. So good eye. ICX looks great, Jaywar. Right, good night, everybody. Polkadot, I agree, Polkadot is quite an interesting chart. Massive. Dan is massively bullish. Dot. I think I've got dot here. There we go. This is Bitcoin. So this is another one against Bitcoin in a really nice uptrend. We overshot this 786 and recovered it here on the hourly. Let's go to the daily. So yeah, Bitcoin really outperforming. So money is coming out of Bitcoin and into DOT. And that one's finally turning up again. So that DOT tether should look amazing. And it does. So yeah, another really nice one. So where are we going to go in this one? I use fib projections, so we're going to go high, like down here. Okay. I'd like to see this one make new highs, and I'd be looking for 7.7 and 8.87. So yeah, I agree with you, DOT is trending as well. So I think a lot of people, you know, who think that alts have looked terrible, they've been looking at alts against Bitcoin and forgetting that, you know, Bitcoin is in a parabolic rally, and actually a lot of stuff looks all right. Get ready for, and that Bitcoin, that should be. So somebody asked in my group, should I go into altcoins or should I just buy ETH? I would say, you know, buy some of these altcoins. Some of them look really good. I have a bit of ETH, and I would have some of these really good looking altcoins as well. Okay, good night everyone. Thanks for coming. Happy New Year. See you in 2021.